This is Murtaja Correiras. He is now 18 years old and on trial in Saudi Arabia. And this is him at the time of his alleged crime, on a bike in his hometown and with 30 other children cycling around as part of an anti-government rally. He was 10 years old. Murtaja has spent the last 4 years in jail, some of them in solitary confinement. The Saudi authorities say he's confessed, but the teenager denies this, claiming he was forced into an admission of guilt after hours of torture. Riyadh's decision to sentence him to death is, unsurprisingly, not going down well.
Ridiculous exercise of brutality, of thuggishness, of state authoritarianism.
Another human rights abuse case.
The prosecutor in Correiras' case is not only calling for the death penalty, but for his body to be crucified or dismembered afterwards.
Here's a 10-year-old kid riding his bike, and somehow this is a capital offense.
Now, you'd be forgiven if you're experiencing some déjà vu. Remember all the indignation over last year's assassination of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi? The media alleged the Crown Prince was complicit in his murder, something the kingdom vehemently denies. Politicians called for immediate sanctions against Riyadh, and human rights groups blasted the kingdom's constant violations of, well, human rights. But do you remember how it ended?
I called the king. I like the king. I said, King, we're losing our defending you, King, and you have a lot of money.
Yep, you guessed it. Military contracts to the tune of billions of dollars. Not, of course, forgetting the millions of barrels of oil heading to American shores every day. Everything made perfect sense for Trump. And in fact, it seems the Khashoggi case actually helped him dip into the Saudi coffers.
They buy a lot from us. $450 billion they bought. You know, you had people wanting to cut off Saudi Arabia. They bought $450 billion. I don't want to lose them.
So where are we now? On the one hand, Trump's administration has just authorized a top American defense firm called Raytheon to couple with the Saudis and build bomb parts in Saudi Arabia. On the other hand, the fate of a minor facing the death penalty for challenging the Saudi regime. Do we really need to second-guess what's next?
There's no pretense anymore of it being moral under the Trump administration. The U.S. used to, maybe it was worse when under prior administrations where they tried to pretend that what they were doing is the moral thing. That's been very clear. He brags about the deals he strikes, selling arms to the Saudis. We, just turn a blind eye to the atrocities and say, well, it's realpolitik. We support Saudi Arabia because they're on our side.
Trump is being very honest that he doesn't care about human life, the life of Khashoggi, or any other person on death row, or any other person who's about to be executed by extra legal means by the Saudi royal family. Donald Trump's very honest. He says, look, they buy a lot of weapons from us. In spite of all the media hype about these new gruesome executions, I don't believe that the U.S. government policymakers will change their orientation towards Saudi Arabia whatsoever. The Saudis are a cash cow for U.S. defense contractors. Saudi Arabia is a strategic ally, along with Israel, for the maintenance of U.S. control over the resource-rich area called the Middle East.